finally means coming to an end.
Vocabulary refers to knowing the meaning of words and is critical to successful reading comprehension. Building vocabulary involves teaching your learner how to figure out the meaning of words while reading. It also requires selecting and studying the meanings of individual words and parts of words. It's important to relate these vocabulary words to learners' current and prior experiences to help cement them in their word bank. A Think Aloud is a strategy that allows a person to tune into the thinking of another person. In the following Think Aloud, you will be able to hear the thought processes of a tutor as she decides which words to select in preparing for a vocabulary lesson with her learner.
So in selecting words to pre-teach, that takes some real thought on a tutor's part, and so you really need to select words before you actually sit down with your learner. So that you have the words that you want to pre-teach and really focus on together. While you meet with your learner, another way to select words that can be very valuable is to have your learner skim through the text. I personally like highlighters, and your learner can highlight words that are difficult or unfamiliar to her, and that way you have added words to study, or perhaps you and your learner have selected the same words. It's always interesting to see if your words are different from the ones that your learner selects. So right now I'll be selecting words beforehand so I can look for the qualities that really are going to be powerful for her vocabulary development and subsequent reading comprehension. Okay, I am looking through this text. I am looking for words that I think will pack a powerful punch for Janine. Janine is very interested in learning more about all sorts of cultures and expanding her horizons as far as being able to have conversations and to read and write in all sorts of contexts. So I am looking for words that will really help her toward her goal of being able to interact well with people from all sorts of cultures, and really just human interest stories. So there are quite a few words in this story that are going to help Janine open up new worlds. So I'm looking for unfamiliar and difficult words. And I'm also looking for words, I know that we've practiced some different prefixes and suffixes, so I'm going to be on the lookout for additional practice of those words. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to jot down kind of probably a messy list because some words strike me right away. Janine and I have worked on compound words, and those can be pretty straightforward as far as breaking them down and practicing them, but I'd like to give her as much practice as possible. So here's the word overcome. That'll be a good one. And excellent. Here are two words that have a prefix that we have focused on a lot, and I think will help her even more. So concepts and concretely both share that C-O-N prefix. We're talking about a Burmese jungle. So I think the question is, what the heck is Burmese? And it'll stand in for Burma. I'm going to take a look at Burma in my World Atlas here, because I think it would be good to have a picture of what that word stands for. So I'll be looking for that as well. Actually, let me look it up now. Here is Burma. We could talk about that in Myanmar. This is a little confusing because it doesn't give much context to where India is and where Thailand is. So, I think I'll probably switch to a larger map, or I'll look at a globe so we can take a look at our location here in the United States and figure out where Burma is compared to us. I would like to write down a nice hard word, prosperity. That's got some good syllable practice we can do. A couple other prefixes. Okay, and here is a signal word, and it's while. And that word we can practice and see how it affects the meaning of the text, because while is a signal word that's going to tell us to pay attention to what happens, or that something in the text is going to change, so we have to pay attention to what that is. Now here's a delightful word, karmic. Okay. Here is a word This is nice and difficult. Narcissism. And now we have the word nourishment. I just think that's kind of tough because of all those consonants in a row and the vowel combination and so forth. I think I'll stop there. We have a nice list here. And we want to make sure that there aren't too many difficult words in a text because, you know, that means that she won't be able to figure out words by context. Okay, so I've selected this text. It's pretty much on Janine's reading level. So she's going to be able to figure out words indirectly, or what I mean by that is guessing through context. But the words that I'm selecting here, we're going to learn directly and explicitly, and we're going to examine them and study them before we even look at this book together. Okay, so another great word here, prosperity. There's nothing in that paragraph that gives us any clues to what prosperity means. So that's a good word because it's not defined by the context, and we want to really understand it so that Janine can enjoy this story when she actually starts reading it. So there's prosperity. Okay, so now that I've got my sloppy list for my eyes only, I'm going to copy these words down on flashcards. I'm a big flashcard fan because you can manipulate them with your hands. You can play games with them like Hangman or, you know, just word drills. And I'll make these a little neater so that both Janine and I can read them. And something else I like to do with flashcards is I like to grab a pair of scissors, and then together in our lesson we can use the scissors and cut them up into syllables and do some nice focused word analysis work together. Okay, so here's my list of flashcards. We're going to have a really good vocabulary lesson together. So I believe I am ready when I get to meet with Janine.
Teaching learners the meaning of unfamiliar words in a text before asking them to read it not only builds their vocabulary, it also boosts their comprehension of the reading material. When deciding which words to select from texts to pre-teach to your learner, keep in mind that some types of words carry more vocabulary building power than others. These are the best words to work on with your learner. Developing background knowledge and a strong vocabulary is key to reading well. For this reason, it's important to explicitly and regularly focus on vocabulary development with your learner.